memorizing. Proficient readers tend to remember important ideas and information they discover and bring them together to draw conclusion. Reading is an essential skill for learners of English as a second language, and it is the most important skill to master in order to ensure success not only in learning English, but also in any content class where reading in English is required. With strengthened reading skills, learners will make greater progress and development in all other areas of learning. It forms a big picture of the reading materials, and they are able to summarize or articulate the main idea and separate it from the supporting details. It can be a hard skill for language learners. It requires a lot of practices. It is primarily a silent reading activity. They have to silently read, then summarize or find the main ideas. Generalization is also the basis on which readers are able to identify particular underlying themes in literature. Perhaps the best piece of advice I can give you as you set goal to improve your teaching of reading is to enjoy what you are doing in the classroom. We have opportunity to interact with the learners in our classrooms. We can learn more from them than they will ever learn from us. Proficient readers and listeners reflect on and form personal opinions about the texts they encounter. They provide their own ideas or point of view about the story. For example, Colab Palin Paling Rose, after finish reading that novel, they will conclude that the author of the book emphasizes on the struggling, hard-working, and honesty of the main character rather than the status, power, or beauty. They internalize the meanings certain works have held for them, review ideas frequently, and evaluate what they have read compared with other texts. The term internalize means to make a feeling, an attitude, or a belief part of the way you think or behave. It emanates directly from the child's own thinking about personal transaction with the material. The term emanates means to produce or show something. Reading journals are an effective way to evaluate reading progress. Students make a journal entry each day. One day I may ask the students to engage in a repeated reading activity and then record in their reading journal what they have learned about their reading rate after doing this activity. On the other day I may ask the students to do a written protocol and record the strategies they have used while reading during a homework assignment. The journal helps the students see the progress they are making in class. Answering the questions. The most valuable ways proficient reader or listeners construct text meaning is by asking and answering important questions about the text as they read. The teachers will play a crucial role in setting the questions before they read the text, so while they are reading the article, they will focus attention on the reading to find the information responding to the questions. They know the difference between thinking questions and locating information questions. We are teachers. Our job is to construct human resource to shape our society. It is now focusing on learning for life, embracing holistic education, and develop its young people to think creatively and critically. Asking the questions will be the fundamental part of learning. The questions will categorized into 3 parts, 1 factual questions, 2 conceptual questions, and 3 philosophical questions. We will talk in deeper into each type of questions later. They can reflect on the caliber of the questions they have asked themselves. Caliber means the quality of something. If the teachers teach less but teach better, then students will be able to learn better and be more motivated in their learning. Provide plenty time for students to learn by themselves. Self-directed learners. The use of comprehension strategies. Teacher must explicitly teach reading comprehension strategies, as often students do not pick them up on their own. McLaughlin, 2012. Strategic reading is defined as the ability of the reader to use variety of reading strategies to accomplish a purpose for reading. Teachers spent an average of little more than 1 minute per day on comprehension strategies. Connor, Morrison, and Petrella, 2004, whereas far more time is spent on individual decoding skills in most primary classroom. Teachers do not always spend enough time ensuring that students have mastered critical comprehension strategies. In many reading instructions programs, more emphasis and time may be placed on testing reading comprehension rather than on teaching readers how to comprehend. Discussion of the strategies should not distract students from the meaning of the text. but rather help them discern text meaning. McKeown, Beck, and Blake, 2009. Students learn to engage with meaning and develop ideas rather than retrieve information from the text. Meaning does not rest in the reader, nor does it rest in the text. The reader's background knowledge integrates with the text to create meaning. The text, the reader, fluency, and strategies combined together define the act of reading. Strategies can be defined as conscious actions that learners take to achieve desired goals or objectives, while a skill is a strategy that has become automatic. Instructional activities for teaching comprehension. Activate prior knowledge. Prior to each reading passage, it is beneficial to engage the readers in an activity that gets them thinking about what they already know about the topic of the reading. One activity that you could use is called an anticipation guide. The purpose of the anticipation guide is to learn what the readers already know about the topic of the reading. You can ask 5 key questions about the content of a reading passage based on the reading skill you are trying to develop. For example, if you are trying to develop the reader's ability to make inferences, prepare 5 inference questions. Before the students read the passage, they read the inference statements and determine whether they agree or disagree with the statement. The students then read the passage and respond a second time to the same inference statements and determine whether they agree or disagree with the statement. We expect that the students will not be able to respond correctly to the inference statements before reading the passage. But, after reading the passage, we expect that they will be able to answer the statements correctly. The following are the instructional activities for teaching comprehension. Directed listening thinking activity. Structured listening activity, SLA. Dyad reading. Story prediction. Think aloud. Think aloud mysteries. Reciprocal teaching. The knowledge chart. Experience text relationship. Question-answer relationship. Of a successful comprehension program. A review of the research offers classroom teachers consistent finding identifying the key factors in setting the stage for a successful comprehension-based reading program. Fielding and Pearson, 1994, synthesizing the findings of research on reading comprehension, suggest the following practical guideline for teachers. Devote a large block of time to actual text reading. Engage in close reading of text. Provide opportunities for reading in a social setting. Give students access to plenty of children's literature. Provide opportunities for personal response to text. Consider the language and culture of all learners. A large block of time for actual text reading. Students must be reading great quantities of text if they are to reach the expectations of the Common Core. As a rule of thumb, students should have more time during the school day to practice reading than the combined total allocated for learning about, talking about, or writing about what they are reading. Such time for reading can be built into the curriculum by having students read on their own during independent work time in the classroom. Students should be provided with plenty of time during the day practice reading. Reading material should include texts that are easily decodable so that students can apply recently learned decoding strategies to text. Classroom libraries should include texts on subjects in which students are interested in and motivate them to read more and more widely. Enhancing students' intrinsic motivation to read is crucial, and students who are intrinsically motivated to read have higher levels of reading competency. Skiffle et al., 2012. Create classroom libraries that include books that reflect students' interest survey, literacy histories, sharing interview with classmates. McLaughlin, 2012. Additionally, explore the wide variety of informational texts now available for young readers. Teachers and students will be involved in a wide variety of learning activities such as brainstorming, problem solving, undertaking real-world tasks and even peer teaching using various pedagogical modes such as collaborative learning, problem-based learning and project work. In close reading text. A main goal of close reading is to teach students to read text and achieve all three levels of understanding independently. Closing reading involves the multiple reading of short texts with the goal of understanding the text at three basic levels. The three levels, key ideas and details, craft and structure, and integration of knowledge and ideas. After briefly building background and helping students make personal connection to the main aspects of the text, you need to go well beyond asking surface-level questions to modeling and teaching questions that students can ask themselves any text. Using inductive teaching and inquiry to guide student to conceptual understanding. When students understand, they are able to better retain and transfer their learning. Motivating students to think is a major focus for thinking teacher.